Pelican Books. Hi, I'm Gary Lovisi, and this time we're going to take a look at a little known, underappreciated, uh, not rare, and not expensive series of books. 25 books, Pelican Books, that were published as an imprint of Penguin Books in the United States. These are American Pelican Books. Some of them were reprinted from British Penguin Books in the 30s and 40s, and there were 25 Pelican Books. They were numbered from 1 to 25 with a P for Pelican prefix, so it's P1 to P25. Published from 1946 to 1948, and they're all nonfiction, very hoity-toity titles. These are fancy titles, fancy books for deep thinkers. And they're written by deep thinkers, and they're for deep thinkers. So get some intellectual probity into this video series.
Good luck with that.
Yeah, and here we go. No good girl art, no sleaze, no science fiction, fantasy, or horror.
Let me just say, I'm surprised that you have them, because usually you don't collect those kind of things. Why would you choose this?
I'm very surprised to have them. Well, I picked them up at a sale. I got them, and I thought they're really interesting books. They're nonfiction that has to do with all kinds of well, you'll see when you see the titles, all kinds of interesting things that go on in society, and they're beautiful books. Many of them have Robert Jonas cover art, and we'll take a look at them now. They're published by, these are American Pelican Books. So, Pelican Books, this is number 1, P1, with the pelican on the front. Here's where the number is, and the number's up here on the spine. And then in the back, it's published by Penguin Books, and most of them were 25 cents originally. And this is number 1 from 1946, Public Opinion. So if you have opinions that are out in public, this is the book for you. If you've got a lot of opinion. These were a good book, a good series of books. Interesting, thought-provoking material that's maybe underappreciated today. Patterns of culture, an analysis of our social structure as related to primitive civilizations. That's number 2. And here you can see they're signed by Jonas. I think all of these have Jonas covers. P number 3 is You in Music by Christian Dornton. They all have these designy Jonas covers. And
Were they color-coded by
genre? No, they were just
it's random.
Just randomly, yeah. But I think they're pretty nice books. I have so these are from 1946. They don't age so well. The paper gets, see, the end papers are white, and it's better quality paper. And then the paper that they use, this is like right after World War II. So the pages usually on them are tan or brown, which is unfortunate, so that they don't hold up that good. These are pretty nice copies, but they still, have quite a bit of age to them. Not wear, but age. This is an interesting one. The Birth and Death of the Sun by George Gamow. This is number 4, and you can see on this one. So the pages are pretty nice, and then it has photos. And this is all it has a little thing here about this book, and it's the stellar evolution and subatomic energy. So these are books that you know, a lot of people that are even if you're into science fiction, you would like this book, because this gives you a scientific background to a lot of the birth and death of suns, stars, and things that would be good for a science fiction writer, actually. Even though this is information from 1946, not quite up to date maybe, but still has a lot to it. Number 5, I don't have all the books. I have 18 of the 25 in the series, so there's a few that I'm missing. But I figured I would show these because I just wanted to show something different and let you know that there's other books out there aside from a lot of the things that are very collectible. This isn't such a collectible series. They're not expensive books, and they age poorly. The paper, gets brown on even copies that are nice copies. It just ages, because they're from after World War II. This is number 5, and it's An Enemy of the People, Anti-Semitism. Now that the Nazis have been defeated, because this is a year after World War II, this is 1946, why is it that some of their most insidious propaganda persists? In this book, a non-Jew takes a scientific study of the historical, sociological, and psychological aspects of anti-Semitism. And it's good that we defeated the Nazis and we don't have any of this anymore. It's amazing. But I'm not going to editorialize. I'm going to look at P number 9, which is the next book I have, which is The Weather. So this is an interesting copy with, again, aged paper, but it has photos, like really cool photos from the Weather Service. Nice. These are really nice books. If you're into nonfiction, if you're into, learning about things, how things work, and these Pelican books are a charm. I mean, they're really special, and they are. I think they're important. I think they were important when they came out. They're kind of forgotten today, but it is a shame. And when I saw these, a group of them, which I never see many of these. I see one here and there, and so I never saw a group like this. And they're pretty nice condition considering. Actually, if you look at the edges, you can see that they're pretty nice condition. Probably some of them haven't ever been read, but it's just the age. And I'm going to show you one thing on one of the books, which I just want to see. I think it's just, I just saw it was like an interesting thing. Yeah. So this book, this is an interesting book too. Good Reading, a guide to the world's best books. But before we get to it, I just want to show you something again with the paper. So you have the end papers. It's it's kind of aged, and then you have the pages are white. These pages are white. This is 1946. They're white, and then they have other paper in the middle of the book, and see what happens. It gets, look at that, from one page to the other. Some basic books, pretty nice white pages, and then it gets, they go to pulp paper, which is very aged. It's not worn, it's just aged, it's just oxidized. And then it's the quality of the paper. And then the next pages are white again. So it's just like interesting what goes on with these books. But this is number 10, America's Role in the World Economy. And economic book, finance book of what was going on in the world at that time. You have to understand that these books came out right after World War II, 1946 to 1948. So some of them are reprints of books that came out in the 30s or 40s, and others are ones that came out in the 46 to 48 period. They were first printings, but most of them were reprints of earlier hardcover books from the 30s, also earlier 1930s British Penguin books. And so they have that that information, which is, you know, from that time. P12 is the story of human birth. Here are the facts of life for expectant mothers and for fathers and adult readers generally. So this is story of human birth. And now they're starting to put the author's photo on the back. Alan Frank.
Didn't you have the author's photo on the first book?
Might be right. Yeah, we did. Yeah. I don't even realize we have photos of authors on all the books, I guess. Yeah, I just noticed it. Yeah, they have it. Yeah, it's a nice series of books, really, actually, and the Jonas covers are nice. I mean, he did, you know, beautiful artwork, and he didn't consider himself so much of an artist as a designer. And when they wanted him to do the covers for the Signet, American Penguins, and these Pelican books, he says, "You want me to?" He's like surprised that they wanted him to do, you know, book covers. And he said he was going to do it in his own style, and his own design style, and he did, and he did some nice work. Not good girl art, not romantic or realistic, but designy, and it was he did some really excellent work. P13 is Thomas Jefferson on Democracy. This is an important book. One very well thought of, and you know, story about Jefferson and Jeffersonian democracy. Number 14 is Introducing Shakespeare by Harrison. Jonas did a cover for Shakespeare. He took that from this actual drawing of Shakespeare from the, I guess, the 1500s or 1600s. The Personality of Animals. And this is illustrated. And this is number 16. This is a nice book. This is the Pelican logo. And it has photos in it. This is a nice book. It's a nice book. It's a beautiful copy, but aged. They age so quick that the paper oxidizes. This is an interesting one. I have two of them, so I'm going to show you. It's P17, Human Breeding and Survival. Population Roads to Peace or War. This is basically it's interesting because this came out in 19... page 1947, 2 years after World War II, and it's talking about breeding and population control and having less of a population. This came out at the time right after World War II, when 30 or 40 or 50 million people had been murdered and killed in the war and exterminated, and so there was a lot of deficit in the human population, but the people that wanted to limit population were still going strong even then. The book has a errata sheet in it. It reads, an overzealous proofreader has increased the population of the Earth by many millions. Throughout this book, the figures given for the Earth's population in 1940 and in 1947 are incorrect. For 1940, the figure should be 2,200,000,000. And for 1947, the figure should be 2,250,000,000. So that's the error sheet there. And this one came with a letter from 1947 from the Population Reference Bureau in Washington, D.C. And it's basically a review slip or a review, talking about this this copy of the book is given to, I guess this would go to newspapers and radio, TV stations and stuff to publicize the book and to publicize their message of controlling population growth, which is a subject that is very delicate and should be, especially today, they tried to control population growth. So this complimentary copy of Human Breeding and Survival points out that thoughtless population increase is dangerous to your future and to that of your children and your nation. If it continues, lasting peace is impossible. So basically, they wanted to control population. This is not even Planned Parenthood. This is like a really like an international kind of thing to monitor and control population. Human breeding, which my way of thinking is, if you're going to control human breeding, who's going to control it, and what humans are you going to control? And I don't like that. That's all I'm going to say about that for now. Number 18, is marriage necessary? This is the memoirs of George A. Bartlett. He was a Reno, Nevada judge, and he's, here he is, here's the judge. And is marriage necessary? And so I haven't read it, so I don't know if it is necessary or not. My wife thinks that it is, and I think it is.
Not today.
Not today. She's going to smack me in the head. This is a really good book. This is good reading. This is number 19. Good reading, a guide to the world's best books. How to find pleasure and profit in the world's great literature. Brief descriptions of more than 1,000 entertaining and useful volumes. This is the first printing, even though it says there were 11 printing of this, I guess, in hardcover for 340,000 copies. This is a really cool book. This goes through all the, through literature from the ancient Greeks and Romans through, up until modern times, really, or until the 1930s or 40s. Famous books, classics, and talks about them. And again, see, this got the white paper, and then you got the crappy pulp paper that like just oxidizes like crazy. This book, at some point, these pages would probably turn to dust while these would still stay. They're in really good to excellent condition. But the information in the book and the way they've written about all of the 1,000 books that they've picked is fascinating. This is a good book. This is an interesting book. Number 20 is an introduction to modern architecture. It's a subject that I'm not cognizant of too much, but if you're an architect, I know some people who are architects, some authors and people who are architects. This would be a book that they would probably enjoy very much. Architecture, design, would be probably some pretty good ideas in here, because again, this is from the 40s. They may be things in these books that they're not up to date, but also they may be, from an earlier time that we've forgotten and that might be useful or interesting. Next book, 22, is Religion and the Rise of Capitalism. That's interesting combination of religion and capitalism. I wonder what he would have to say on that. Number 24 is Sweden, the Middle Way, the story of a constructive compromise between socialism and capitalism, the new post-war edition of a modern political classic. So this is Sweden. Sweden's has a kind of a socialistic leaning kind of government and society, but it's also capitalistic, and they have very capitalism. Capitalism is a very integrated part of their system. So it's an interesting way that they do things in Sweden. I think this is the last one here, number 25, Philosophy in a New Key, a study in the symbolism of reason, right, and art. And this is the last one that I have, and the last one in the series. I hope you enjoyed this look at Pelican Books. I wanted to do it because I figured I had a bunch of them. They're nice condition. They show the interesting Jonas art, that he did. But also, this is a series that nobody would ever do a look at Pelican Books. And because nobody would ever do a look at these books, I think it's important that somebody does. Every series, even series like this that a lot of people don't collect or even are not aware of, are interesting and important. And these are interesting books that have a lot of good information in them. So I hope you enjoyed this look, and if you did, give us a thumbs up, and thanks for looking. We'll see you next time.